uncoupling of Stubbs, Alderton, Markiles Preccelerator program. Today we're featuring Marc, who's of our mergers and acquisitions and private equity practice. Good to have you here, Marc.
Thanks, Heidi, for having me.
So talk to me a little bit about your background, how you
Sure.
got to be in mergers and acquisitions and in private equity,
Yeah.
and how you came to be with the firm.
Sure. So I've been practicing for a little over 20 years, specializing in mergers and acquisitions, representing private equity funds, financial sponsors, family offices, corporate strategics in a range of transactions, and I've worked in transactions both here in LA, in London, and in Silicon Valley. I came to the firm recently after working at another large firms over the years.
So one of the things we're going to talk about today
Yeah.
is with mergers and acquisitions. We're going to, on the seller's side,
Yep.
we're going to talk a little bit about the ins and outs of that.
Right.
So what are some of the preliminary considerations that a business needs to think about when they go to sell their business?
Sure. So Heidi, I usually start when I meet with an owner who's interested in selling. I usually start with a series of questions to understand a little bit more about how they are approaching the process. So for instance, I ask them, why are you interested in selling? Do you intend to stay with the business after the sale? Can the business operate efficiently without you? If not, why not? What gaps do you have in the management team? Are there family members, for instance, it's a family-owned business, are there family members who are involved in the business that you would like to see remain in the business? On the operational side, I also ask them, what's the financial history of the firm over the past 3 to 5 years? What their growth prospects are going forward. If there's customer concentration, I ask them about that. If they have, if they're in a regulated space, I ask them what regulatory issues they've had over the past few years, and going forward, what kind of regulatory issues they see in the horizon.
So it's a really complicated process. A lot of people
It is.
don't quite understand that. So it's not like selling personal property or your home.
Correct.
Right? So can a business do this alone, or do they need to bring on a team to back them up with this type of transaction?
Yes, it is a very, very complicated process. And I often say it's complicated and intense. I often say it's a marathon that's run like a sprint. So the challenge for a business owner is to run an effective sales process at the same time managing its business. So don't jeopardize the business because you've been distracted on the sales process. And the way for them to do that is two things. One is they have to assemble an internal team at the company, a very small group that you can rely on and that you have confidence in, to work with you on the sales process. At the same time, again, the goal is for you to keep running your business. The better your business grows during this process, the more leverage you'll have with the buyers. So in order to do that, you have to hire outside advisors, and particularly outside advisors that have done lots of M&A transactions. So for instance, investment bankers, accounting firms if you don't have an accounting firm, wealth management teams to the extent that it's a family-owned business and you need advice on how to deal with the proceeds, and then law firms. Again, you may have used law firms in the past for real estate or company contracts, but you need to have lawyers who are adept at M&A transactions.
And internally, what should these businesses do to prepare themselves, both the owners as well
Right.
as their team? What should the team members and the owner do to prepare themselves for this kind of transaction?
So the goal is to become transaction ready before engaging with the buyers, prospective buyers. And by transaction ready, I mean you have looked at the good, the bad, and the ugly with your business and being very honest with yourself about the business. And that's financial, that's legal, etc. Because really, the reason for that is if you provide accurate information and it's positioned correctly with your buyers, you will increase the confidence you have with prospective buyers and also increase the value of your company. So what do we recommend? Typically we recommend what they call in the industry a sell-side due diligence. So you basically start as if you were the buyer, and you start with the management team and the external counsel or advisors, and start going through a due diligence list. You make sure that all of the intellectual property that's in the business, that's used in the business, that you have valid rights to or you own it. that the major material customers that you have, contracts are in order and are not due to be terminated anytime soon. If you're in a regulatory environment, that all the regulatory permits and other issues have been resolved. Cap table, to the extent that you don't have documentation for equity grants or stock issuances, that those get corrected. Again, it's a very exhausting process, and that's the reason why you need to have external advisors to help you through the process, so again, you can focus on your business.
So that's been very valuable. This is, for that type of a very complicated sales process, it's good to have a little bit of background on the steps that business owners need to take. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.